Hey, welcome to the Mike's Good Stuff video walkthrough of the Windows 10 technical preview build 10041. This is the latest build of the technical preview released by Microsoft. It got sent over by Microsoft last week. I think Thursday was when they released it, right around the time of WinHeck in China. And if you haven't guessed so far, this is Mike, once again. And this is part of my ongoing video review series for all of the public previews of Windows 10. There have been plenty of leaked builds released over the last several months, but I'm only really wanting to talk about the public ones because those are the ones that Microsoft, really feels is necessary to show you. All the other leaked builds don't tend to have a lot of interesting information, just some minor tweaks here and there. If you want to see the progress of Windows 10, you can also check out my previous build walkthroughs as well, available on my YouTube channel or at mikesgoodstuff.com. Anyway, let's get into the nitty-gritty here. So, this build isn't nearly as mind-blowing as we would have liked or expected. It's been 54 days since Microsoft released build 9926, which is the last fairly epic build that included a lot of UI changes, I believe the notification center was finalized. We got Cortana in that build. The new start screen had some changes to it. For instance, this is the new all apps stuff there. There was a whole bunch of changes with 9926. It was a pretty big build. This one, 2 months later, we're mostly seeing a lot of refinement of the UI, and a few features are being added in, but not a lot of stuff. So I wouldn't expect this to be mind-blowing. However, at the same time, this is also the buggiest build that we've seen so far. I can see why Microsoft took so long to release a build. Normally we were expecting a build once every month or even 2 weeks, but this is the first build we've had in 2 months, and if it's this buggy, I can only imagine what the previous builds were like. This build has the longest bug list of any other build of Windows 10 that we've seen so far. This is the known issues post, and there's a lot of stuff. There's actually a few additions to this too. I have this entire list in a rundown on the website, mikesgoodstuff.com, in the technical preview build 10041 post. And I've kind of clarified a few of the things that they have here in the case that it needed clarification. I'm not going to go over all of these bugs, since a lot of them you won't really notice until you actually play with the build, or you won't really notice until you won't notice after you actually install Windows 10 because you might not be running the build, the preview builds. I am assuming with these videos that mostly what you're looking for is to see what Windows 10 is looking like without actually trying out the build. As I always say, if you are interested in running the technical preview, don't put this on a production machine. Put this on a machine you don't care about, put it on a secondary hard drive, on a virtual machine, whatever you want to do. I am currently running this on a secondary hard drive of my main computer, and even still, I had issues where the boot manager got corrupted. My iastore.sys Intel storage manager file got corrupted somehow, and I had to stick in a Windows 10 physical CD because I couldn't actually boot into safe mode or any of the startup options, and I had to go into command prompt and fix the boot manager. So I've been having issues with this build a lot more than I think what most people would be able to handle on their own. So for that reason, this build in particular, I wouldn't suggest really playing around with all that much unless you're pretty knowledgeable about fixing your computer, or you just don't care about the computer that you're installing on. Either way, that's fine. You can also just rely on these videos to tell you what is going on, which is the main reason I put them up here. There are a couple there are a couple issues that I do, or with this build that I do want to address in the case that you are going to install this on your own. One of the biggest issues is that, well, I guess in case you actually care about these apps, is when you first start up the build, the Mail app, the Calendar app, and the People app are going to be, well, not working. You click on it and it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to open up at all. It doesn't even tell you that there's something wrong. It's just borked, essentially. There is actually a way to fix that. The reason why that is happening is because they're working on the licensing with the new Store Beta app. If you remember from previous builds or previous videos, there are 2 stores currently in the Windows 10. They're eventually going to revert it all into what this one is. This is the old Windows 8 store. It looks pretty much like it did before. It works just the same. This is the new design of the store for Windows 10. This is the Universal App Store, which will have apps available for all the different Windows 10 devices. It's all universal app type stuff. It looks a lot better, but right now, unlike in build 9926, the Store Beta is currently not working very well. And particularly in the way of licensing. If you install an app from here, or try to install an app from here, it might not actually install. And any apps that you've installed from this particular store in previous builds of Windows 10 may not work either. I'm actually going to try this because I haven't tried this yet. I've actually fixed the problem with these, which I'll show you how to do in a second. But this app I did install from the Store Beta with the last build, and I was having issues running it before. I'm going to see what it does now. It's still, okay, so it's still having issues. So this happens with any app that you've installed with the Store Beta from last build. It basically just says the app can't open, check the Windows Store for more information, and it will, when you click this link, it'll just open up the green store. That's basically a prompt to say, alright, you installed it from this store. It's not currently licensed with Windows 10. Windows 10 is not going to let you install it with some certificate issues. So you would have to basically uninstall this and reinstall it from the green store. I'm kind of curious to find out if, when they do finish the licensing issues here, if apps that were installed with the green store may eventually not work either, and will have to be reinstalled. Anyway, that's the reason why the Mail, Calendar, and People apps were not working, is because whether, I guess it was through build 9926 or previous builds, these apps were installed licensed to the gray Store Beta, and basically the certificate was not working, and it won't let you install. You'll notice that it isn't working because you'll see this big string of Microsoft.Windows. Blah 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 blah. You'll see all this like license stuff. You won't actually see this people or the image at all. And you'll also notice that because you try to click on it and it won't work. So the way to fix that is you actually have to go through PowerShell. So you go to the Start menu, or you click on Cortana here, or whatever, and you look for PowerShell. You're going to see Windows PowerShell pop up. Right-click on that, run as administrator, and you have to type in this long string of code. Honestly, the best way to get this code, because I actually had some issues typing it in right because it's pretty long. If you go to Insider Hub, there's here it is, known issues in build 10041. You want to go there, and you want to just grab this bold stuff, copy, and then paste in there. You can actually just right click and it'll paste it for you. This is a pretty long string of code. You can type it in if you like as well, but just to avoid issues with not typing in right and it just won't work, you may want to just copy paste it in there. It's easier for the average person. But that is the code that you need. As I said though, I've already fixed it. When it does run the code correctly, you'll see a little thing saying that the license, the fix is true and stuff like that. You won't see if you typed it in wrong, you'll see a red thing saying, hey, this, for instance, let's try just deleting a couple things in here. See what it... it's not doing what I want. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, you would normally get a red little blurb of text saying, hey, a command not recognized. So that's how you fix that. There's a couple of things I will mention, though. Accessibility is borked with this build. So any of the narrator stuff, or any third-party screen readers, I think Dragon, naturally speaking, has issues too. None of those will work at the moment, so don't install this if you're thinking of using this for someone who is hard of seeing or needs narrator or screen readers or something like that, because it won't work for them. And there's also a random chess piece of the lock screen. You can just ignore it at the moment. There's really the only reason they have that on there is just to show you to show them if you're using the new lock screen or not. Another thing that pops up for me, there's this see this new notifications, and it's white, meaning that there's a notification in there. Well, now it's showing something, but sometimes it'll highlight white and there's actually nothing in here. That's apparently happening because of some Windows updates, that it may notify you that there's Windows updates constantly, but when you go to Windows updates, there will be no updates. So keep that in mind anyway. So let's see. Also, tablet mode. This right here is turned off by default. You can always turn it back on in the settings. I don't suspect a lot of people running this build are actually going to care much about tablet mode, but I wouldn't really play with it right now. You can of course turn it on and off if you want to, but I wouldn't expect tablet mode really to work with 2-in-1s consistently quite yet. So don't worry about it at the moment. They'll fix it inevitably. The final thing I want to mention, as far as the bugs are considered, like I said, there's quite a few of them, so look at the full list online, or on the website. But Cortana is now available with a lot more different languages and regions. At first, when Cortana debuted with 9926, it was only for English US builds. As a result, I would imagine a lot of people from other regions downloaded the English US build because it had Cortana and the other builds did not. If you're expecting... So if you're in China, the UK, Germany, France, Italy, or Spain, or, you're using one of those languages, Spanish, Italian, French, German, UK English, or Chinese, and you want to check out the new Cortana on those regions, you're going to have to make sure that you have your region/language specific build of Windows 10 installed. If you did install the English US version, I do have some tutorial. I have the way to fix that on the website. But essentially, what you have to do is you have to reinstall Windows 10 build 9926 first, and you have to install you have to download the ISO for your language specific version by going to the Windows 10 Tech Preview ISO page. I have a link on the website as well. And you download your region specific one, you reinstall Windows 10, and then update to build 10041, and you'll get your language specific Cortana as well. So there's currently no other workaround to that. There's no way to change your language preferences or region preferences in Windows 10 Technical Preview yet. So unfortunately, that's what you have to do. So without further ado, let's get into the stuff that they did add with this update. Like I said, there isn't a lot, but you know, there's some cool stuff. The first thing that is the more shall we say controversial change is the icons. They've updated all of the icons now. A lot of places are saying that the icons have been updated again. That's not necessarily the case. A lot of the icons, the Windows icons that were in the previous build, did not have this kind of new styling. They had maybe a more vibrant version of the old Windows 7 stuff. For instance, I believe these three are the main things that have really changed: Recycle Bin, Network, and Control Panel. These now have been updated to reflect their new Windows 10 modern design styling, I guess. So as you can see, they're fairly flat icons, a little bit of illusion of depth with shadowing, but not. You know, they're very vibrant and yet flat. So it seems to be targeting kind of what they started doing with Windows 8, but I think Google took it a little bit further with their own modern design with Android. These icons are very, very similar to the design that Google and iOS have been, or Google and Apple have been creating with their mobile OSs, with these bright flat icons. And so Microsoft pioneered the flat design. The other two OSs created these vibrant iconography, and Microsoft is adopting that as well. So love it or hate it, this is really the new icon design. If you hate it, you absolutely hate it. You can certainly put in your feedback to Microsoft, either through they have a new revised Windows feedback tool, or if you're not running the build, you can also give your feedback on their website for the Windows 10 technical preview. They have a feedback section there as well. If you really, really hate it and you can't stand it and you can't work with these icon styles, first of all, you're ridiculous. And second of all you have to do is right-click on the desktop, go to Personalize, change desktop icons, and then you select the icon you want to change. Let's say let's change the Recycle Bin, and there's this change icon thing right here. And then this gives you all the icons that are currently loaded in System 32. You can pick anything you want in here. If you want to, you can also download new icons online, although you want to make sure that you're downloading from reputable sources. But there's plenty of places that have the old Windows 7 or even XP icons, Windows 2000 icons, whatever you want. You can download those and you can browse for the DLL icon file. And then you can always change those icons to whatever you want. You don't have to use these ones. And I'm sure there's programs you can find online that will change all of your icons to a certain style, and you can play around with that stuff. I mean, as usual, you do want to be careful if you do start playing around with that, because a lot of those things are written with viruses and spyware and stuff like that. So make sure you're running some good antivirus software and scan the executable before you run it. But like I said, these are the icons. I'm fine with them. It doesn't bother me. It seems to be bothering a lot of people. There's a lot of rage and hatred, especially about this Recycle Bin. It's just an icon, guys. I don't define my usage of a computer by the icons that are on there. Like, I double click them to open things, and that's it. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. But anyway, those are the new icons. I'm fine with them. You may not be. Whatever. Second of all, they've made a couple of UI changes here. The start menu has transparency now. This is more of a preview of what's going to look like. It's actually not going to look like this. Well, you know, this is green color, obviously, that I've picked, which is the taskbar color. But what I mean by that is, if we open up a bunch of things here, let's just do a blank document. Mozilla Firefox, This is the PowerPoint. Oh. Interesting. Okay. Also interesting, the preview apps, since I've fixed... Let me see. Let me make sure that everything else is still working here real quick. Calendar. Since I fixed the issue with the People app and the mail and the calendar, apparently these are no longer working as well. So I'm gonna have to re-download it or something. Okay, so we open up a couple things here. So we open up a couple applications here, and we go to the Start menu. You can see the transparency a little bit, but it's mainly noticeable when you expand the Start to full screen, and you can see everything underneath here. This is actually considered a bug for Microsoft in their known bug issues. They talk specifically about how the text of the Start menu overlays on text below it, making it a little bit harder to see some things. Apparently this is not the final design of this. What they're wanting to do is have it more like, so that the expanded Start should look a lot more like the Windows 8.1 Start menu, which will essentially just show you the, in fact, it won't even show you the icons, it will show you just the background behind it. That is the intended design, according to Microsoft. So I would imagine that this will change. However, you get to see some transparency here. I do agree. I think that showing the background in the background, or behind this, rather than all this other stuff, is better. We don't... maybe some people who find the Start screen a little jarring may like it better to see everything on the desktop. Maybe they'll have a toggle to switch that if you want. But currently, this is the only way you get it, is this full transparency here. We'll see what happens with further builds. Okay, so the other one thing that I'm really excited about that they changed here, one of the biggest changes I think of this build are some changes to virtual desktops. Virtual desktops are now a lot more usable than they used to be. If you remember from before, you could create a virtual desktop and then you can kind of throw applications into it. Of course, you have this Alt tab, which switches applications at the moment. But you could use Windows tab, like I'm pressing right now. And you always had an option to create a new desktop. And then once you were in there, it looked exactly the same. Any applications that you had open in other desktops would also show up down here, but they'd be like a more minimal icon than it was before. And you can create more and more desktops. But you would also have to... I'll answer that later. But you would have to drag your stuff to other desktops like this in order to move everything. They now have a new option here. They've kind of changed how that stuff works, but there is also a new option where you can actually drag this to the new desktop icon down here, and it will actually open up a new desktop with that in it. It was minimized before. And then you can go back to the previous desktop and do your thing there. And as usual, you can also move things to the desktop. You can, if you go to the desktop, go here, you can also move things back if you want as well. However, one of the biggest philosophical changes with virtual desktops that they've made, in my opinion, was kind of a correct one. If we open up, let's actually not open Firefox at the moment. Let's go there. Let's open up a couple things. Now we have all these applications open here. If you go back to the previous desktop and you go to Alt Tab, that's the only thing that shows up. same thing here. Even though we have Windows Explorer and a few other things open, this is the only thing that pops up as a preview. You actually have to go back to the other desktop in order to see all these other icons. At the same time, you don't see the stuff from the other desktops. This is an important distinction to me. I actually did suggest this in the builds before, and it looks like a lot of other users suggested this as well. Virtual desktops, the whole idea behind them is to separate your workflows. So if you have multiple projects that you're working on at a time, for instance, let's say you've got, since the mobile apps aren't working at the moment, let's see, where is Microsoft Office? Say you've got a PowerPoint you're working on over here. Sure. And so you're working on it here, and this is of course the multitasking mode as we've seen before, and you've got some research going on over here. So you've got this thing. Oh, well, we seem to have lost our. There we go. Okay, so you've got a PowerPoint going on over here, but at the same time, you've got a document that you want to work on outside of that. So we're going to actually move this to a new desktop, along with maybe your file browser if you're adding some photos to it. This PowerPoint you're going to be working on for work or something like that. But this is kind of a side job that you got going on. You're gonna throw this here, and you got some stuff going on over here, and then over here maybe you've got maybe you got some fun stuff. You got MetroTube, Steam popping up over here. Maybe you got your Xbox app doing some stuff over here. This is kind of your fun desktop here. See, the cool thing is you can go back to this desktop, and there's no distractions. None of this other crud that you have open up on the other ones are showing up. You just have this, and you can keep this desktop clean of those distractions. And so that way, when you hit Windows Tab and you're like, all right, I'm done with this, I'm going to move on to my other work project. You're going over here, you're typing your thing, blah 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 blah. You've done about a couple hours of work. Then you can treat yourself by going over to this one here. It separates the workflows. And when you had everything popping up down here, especially if you have, say, 6 or 7 different IE or Firefox or Chrome windows open, and you went over here for a visual peek, it's kind of hard to see what exactly was going on with this desktop. You'd have so many different windows open, you have to remember which one you're actually interested in. So this is a great way to separate your workflows, and it's what virtual desktops should be. And I'm glad that they did finally change that. It makes virtual desktops a lot easier to work with. And of course, you can always delete these desktops, and brings everything. When you delete the virtual desktops, it brings everything back to the primary one here. So that is cool. I very much like that change. Another small UI change that they made is they finally replaced the network flyout. If you remember, when the first Windows 10 preview came out, this network flyout was the same as the standard Windows 8 flyout, which would basically cover up this entire section of the screen here with actually maybe even more, with a little flyout. Like normally it was whatever theme that you picked up for your theme color, and so it would take up this entire screen with just the network options. It's great for touch, not very good for standard mouse and keyboard desktop. So a lot of people complained about that. What they did is they brought back the standard network flyout from Windows 7, which is just a little box like this. Actually, no, I'm sorry. They didn't even do that. With the previous build, 9926, what they did is when you click this network button, it would take you to here. Just open up another window, which is almost kind of worse. It just opens up another window, an entire window to get to your network settings. And what they've done now is they've fixed that UI, thankfully, and they've introduced a new network flyout. Not nearly, so about as wide as the previous one was, not nearly as tall. It's a little cleaner and a lot more consistent with the notification center. This was actually as big as the previous network flyout was, and this is the new one. So I'm glad they did that. It makes things a little bit more consistent. The sound stuff is still the same. I don't know if they're going to change this. I would imagine they will eventually. They have to they want to keep the UI consistent. And also this is still the old style. If you remember if you saw the last video 9926, I demonstrated a little registry edit that you could do to enable a little bit more minimalized version of the calendar and clock, and it wasn't fully functional at the time, so they still haven't enabled it by default or enabled an option to change it that I can see. This still opens up the standard Windows 7 style stuff, but yeah, so they still haven't changed that. So there's a few extra UI changes that I would imagine that they're going to do there. The other thing in that vein that I've heard now is I always kind of assumed that the control panel was going to stay around, and it still is here. It's still in this build. But I've been hearing that this settings menu is going to replace the control panel. That they're going to be adding a lot more stuff into the settings menu from the control panel, but that they want to eventually put everything in here. I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of like having the power user options separated in control panel and having the standard settings in here, but I do understand that they would like to unify things a bit. There's just a lot of stuff in here that doesn't need to be in a standard settings menu that 99% of users will never actually use. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, but that is something I've heard. There's nothing confirmed through Microsoft yet, as far as I know, but keep that in mind. There's also a new lock screen. I can't demonstrate it to you on this video, unfortunately, because going to the lock screen automatically turns off the video. I'm not running this in a virtual machine like I probably should. Otherwise, I probably would be able to demonstrate it to you. However, I can show you. Let's actually go to settings here. So in order to enable it, you want to go to the new settings menu and go to personalization, background, lock screen, color, sounds. There's this new lock screen style called Windows Spotlight. It used to be just picture and slideshow. I think there might have been a Bing one before, but this is essentially. I had assumed that this is supposed to be a Bing picture of the day type of thing, but it hasn't changed since I enabled it, or since I installed this a few days ago. So maybe not. I don't really know what's going on with the Windows Spotlight. Supposedly what they're supposed to be doing with this is showing tips and tricks for Windows 10 on the lock screen. So they'll have a little text up here. The reason I'm not super worried about actually showing you this is because literally it does nothing right now. I have not seen any tips and tricks, any text, anything on here. So this lock screen isn't really doing anything. So don't worry about it at the moment. If I see anything happening with the lock screen at any time, I'll make sure to take a screenshot of it and I'll post it up on the website. But so far, like I said, this lock screen hasn't done anything, but they're supposed to be doing something with it eventually. In theory, it's a pretty cool idea because supposedly they'll be rotating the pictures around like a Bing image of the day type of thing, and then they'll also be showing tips and tricks or little blurbs, suggestions and stuff like that, which would be good for people getting used to Windows 10. Users that may not be super tech savvy, but you know, would like to see some of the stuff that's on there. So I think that's a good thing. Now, if you don't want Microsoft to tell you what to do, whatever, you can always do a picture or a slideshow as well. That's always an option for you. But interesting little beginnings of things. I'm sure we'll see more of this lock screen as it becomes enabled in future builds, as they add more stuff to it. They did also completely change the handwriting panel. If you don't know what that is, so this is the touch keyboard, which I currently have set up on the right, or the thumb keyboard for some reason, apparently. But if you go here and so this is the standard keyboard, which is fine. They've always had this handwriting panel. It just shows like a little tablet with a pen, and this is designed for handwriting. This is the old version. Oops. Which was always kind of a pain. Like, I mean, first of all, it's huge, especially if you do the full-size version, which takes up literally a third of your screen. It also hides all, like, that third of your screen. Like, let me see, actually, I haven't used this all this much. I wonder if we have Internet Explorer up here, we put it down here, and then we open up the handwriting panel. Okay, it does at least move that up, so that's good at least. But, yeah, so this is the old version. In order to type something in here, you have to go... Oh. Doesn't even know what I'm doing. It takes a while to actually process the handwriting. I'm doing this with my... so let's delete that. Like, God, working with this is a pain. Like, I don't even know what to do here. I guess you can do this. Nope. And then, if you want to actually delete something, I'm not even sure. Yeah, whatever. Sure, we'll do an asterisk. So once you're done, once it's done doing all this stuff, then you hit insert and it puts it in there. It's just really slow, really kind of a pain in the butt. And like I said, huge. Now you do have the option to like. So in the case that I type this really wrong and it's like, oh my god, you normally have this deleting, you know, you have this stuff that tells you how to actually, you know, play around with it. But yeah, I don't know, it's clunky. I never really liked it, and I never really used it that much. However, the new version is pretty cool. So, first of all, with the old version, you could always move it around, but there was no point because it's just so freaking big and clunky that it didn't really matter. The new version is really tiny, which you would think would be a bad thing for handwriting, but I'll show you why. It's actually really ingenious. You can also do the full screen one like this. It doesn't go all the way across the screen, unfortunately, but yeah, it gives you a good amount of space. But we'll just use this one for the moment. So say you're wanting to, instead of doing Bing search, let's go into Notepad. Just easier this way. So say you're writing something and you're writing on a like a Surface Pro 3, some sort of pen enabled, digitizer enabled thing, and you're writing notes in class. Now you can of course type. For that matter, it might be easier to type than do handwriting normally anyway, but say you have your tablet on your desk and you don't want to prop it up and use a keyboard. You just want to, you know, just write notes as the teacher's talking, do scribbles, whatever. all I have to do, oops, let's see here, let's delete. So as it recognizes words, it will start putting them in there. You see this, how it's automatically just kind of throwing things in there? And it's still recognizing my G as a bracket for some reason. So, but you also have the delete key, which allows you to delete within the actual text here. It puts everything in one word at a time. So you could just hit the delete key. And you could try it again, and you can do space, and that will clear your current field. Well, obviously, it seems to be. So it's still a little buggy. Let's see here if we can clear that. Showing you wow, it's not wanting to work at all now. It's good to know. Once again, this build is buggy. Let's try switching the old one real quick. Thus. Okay, now let's go back to the new version. Wow. Look at that. So this is actually the first time I've ever seen this do this, but it is currently stuck at the moment, which is unfortunate. And there's no way to really clear this. It seems like it's pretty much stuck. However, so I'll be mentioning this, of course, to Microsoft, but like I said, still buggy in early stages. The concept of this is really cool because basically allows you to write in stuff, and then it automatically just types it in for you as it recognizes it. And then you can delete in line, you can hit enter in line, you can do spacebar in line, and rather than having to like decipher entire words and then hit insert, you can just write it and it just does it for you. Really, really cool in concept. Still a bit buggy, as I said. So, oh well. But anyway, that's a minor preview of that. A new dedicated handwriting panel. Just out of curiosity, wonder if I can make it bigger and fix it. As you notice, it keeps going back to the keyboard as well. I think this thing is borked at the moment. I'd probably have to restart it in order to get it to function again. Okay. So once again, I'm showing you everything. When it works and when it doesn't, as clearly doesn't. So they did make a few changes to the apps that they debuted with last build, the Photos app, the Xbox app, and the Maps app. They're all pretty much working about the same. They just added a couple features to them. Nothing super exciting. Like, for instance, we still don't have albums for the Photos app, which is the way that it was supposed to automatically create photo albums for you based on people, locations, various different metadata. The Xbox app, you still can't do game DVR on your PC. As far as recording games that you're playing on your PC, you also cannot stream games from your Xbox to your PC yet. That stuff is not there. There's no Spartan web browser. I've already checked for that. There's nothing that's not in there yet, despite Microsoft saying that Spartan was coming in the next build. Since they changed things up a bit, apparently that means that Spartan's delayed a little bit, probably till the next build after that. And Maps is looking pretty good, actually. So I'm going to show you that. Let's see. Oh, interesting. So this is actually what these things look like when they weren't working. It is apparently working now, but found it interesting that it's showing that. Like I said, very buggy build. So let me show you maps. Maps is looking really good, as I said. This app is also a little buggy. I've had some issues getting it to work properly a few times. For instance, a lot of times when I first installed this app, I would go to this Explore in 3D mode, which is, it's not new, but they have enhanced it. It is looking a lot better, and this would actually be grayed out. And one thing you should probably know is that even though this says maps on the all apps screen here, that's not exactly its real title. If you go to the Windows Store real quick, as quick as this old Windows 8 store loads anyway. Well, okay, here it goes. And you search for maps. Here is the old Maps app. This is Bing Maps, typically what it was considered. You try to install this. Nope, sorry. Your PC may not meet some of the requirements of this app. Weird, right? It's because this is Windows 10. This is the Bing Maps app for Windows 8. So if we search for maps in the new store, what shows up now is this one called Windows Apps. This is the actual name of the application. It actually says to install it here, but I'm not going to do that. So see this little note here, installs but disappears? This happened a lot to me. The build will actually install this app on your PC on build 10041. But while it didn't disappear for me, I would open it, and then this stuff would all be gone, and it would be in Explore in 3D mode. So it was bugged. I would have to restart my computer in order to get it to work again. So it's a little buggy at the moment, but let me show you what they've added with this with Explore in 3D. Because this is actually really cool. It's not entirely done yet, so this isn't quite as encompassing as say Google Earth, which has most of the Earth kind of rendered in fairly good 3D satellite images. But they've rendered a lot of stuff here. Now notice what is going on here. This obviously looks fake, but when you look closer at this, it's as if they took the satellite imagery. For instance, if we interesting. So it's let's try this. How interesting. I'm gonna try reinstall or reopening the app. You can normally right click and left click. Yeah, you can normally right click to actually move the image around to actually move around the map, but that's currently not working. Oh, it sort of worked there. You can move around this way, which is good, but right click, normally you can move a little bit. Not working here for some reason. How interesting. So, once again, it's buggy. It is what it is. But if you'll notice, Explore in 3D. Oh man. Okay, hold on. Okay, took a couple times, but now it's working. I can now move up and down with the right mouse button. I can zoom in. I can move this way. I can rotate. So that's all working now. This is exactly how it's supposed to look, or how it's supposed to work. The app is still a little buggy, so it's all in preview stage, which is fine. I don't expect everything to be working flawlessly yet. However, I do want to mention how this looks from above. That's satellite imagery, right? At least that sure looks like satellite imagery. And then you start partitioning it down, and it looks 3D rendered with a little bit of detail in here. Obviously, you get too close, and you're getting a lot of noise, a lot of pixelation, because this is basically what they're doing here is they're adding depth and running the satellite image through a 3D renderer to create depth of field and to make a 3D effect here. So that way, I mean, it looks mostly realistic, a little fake at parts, but it will give you a general idea of what the area is going to look like when you're looking around in it. You can kind of go pretty close to a street level here. Let's see if I can move down any further. I think you can't get quite to street level with this mode. There is a street level mode in here, which I demonstrated with the last build, but this part is new. And so they have a few let's see, let's go to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that's a stadium and stuff like that. Once again, if you look above, it looks basically like satellite imagery, and then they just added depth of field to a lot of the objects. So the cars look positively terrible if you look up close, but they're not really supposed to look super high fidelity. It's a 3D rendered version of a satellite image. Still, it looks like, you know, it's not bad. It's actually really, really cool looking, especially since you get to see the gist of what an area looks like. And so this is all just, you know, 3D graphics trickery. Google uses a lot of their streetcars to pick up a lot of you know, 3D imagery and stuff like that, but it's not as fluid because it has to load a ton of pictures. Google Earth takes a lot of resources to use. The benefit to this mode is that it's really fluid. You can see me just kind of moving through here, and it just quickly renders. It looks, you know, it doesn't look great, but it's functional. It does the job, and that's kind of fine with me. You can see the you can see it, like, you know, get too closer to street level. You can see the mountains in the background, kind of the view, that stuff. And this isn't just restricted to the locations they have in this Explore in 3D version. There are other areas that are rendered that way. Not everything is, though. For instance, you can see this is still very much flat satellite imagery. This is in Nebraska. It's mostly a lot of the bigger cities that have been rendered this way. Yeah, that's once again flat. If we go to, let's see, we're not signed in there, and let's go into settings here real quick. I'm actually going to turn off location use at the moment. And if we circle around here, we can go to my home state of California. Near, we can go to Sacramento here, which is the capital city, and you see this. I mean, this is actually rendered. Just kind of impressive. Like, you know, you'd always expect a lot of the bigger name cities, a lot of, you know, like foreign cities, Venice, a lot of the bigger cities like New York and stuff like that. You'd expect all that to be rendered, but this is Sacramento, which normally people tend to just ignore. City of bureaucracy, so to speak, and they actually have rendered this pretty well too. You can see a lot of the landmarks around here. Like I said, it doesn't look perfect, but it looks pretty good. I mean, that building looks pretty accurate. Like I said, I've been having a lot of fun here. There's the I Street Bridge. Let's see. Yeah, I've been having fun just, you know, looking around in here and seeing all the stuff that they do have for Sacramento. But it's pretty cool. Like, I like where they're going with this. I like it to be functional yet clean and not super heavy on the resources. Google Earth tends to kind of break, you know, even moderate end computers. It just takes so long to load anything unless you've got something pretty nice. This may obviously change as they add more data in here, more contextual data and stuff like that. But so far, I'm liking it. Oh, I just went into space apparently. All right, I think that's a good time to close this. And once again, it's buggy, but it'll be fixed. So next thing I'll show you is in the Photos app. They didn't really do a whole lot that I can really show you. It looks pretty much exactly the same as it did before. It just runs a little bit quicker now. You might notice this thing here. I think this is funny. FBL impressive. This is actually what the Windows update looks like to install 10041. That'll probably be my header image. Anyway, so that's what the photo apps look like. You probably already saw it. They still haven't added albums yet. This is still missing here. However, the things that they have changed are that the live tile for the Photos app, which I don't have up here, will actually show OneDrive photos now instead of just what's on your computer. This Photos app will also support RAW images. It's the first time that a default photo app for Windows has actually supported RAW images, so you can actually see them in there, which is cool. Probably part of the reason for that is because Windows Phones will actually take RAW photos as well, so that could be part of that. There's some minor performance improvements. It does seem like it runs a little bit quicker than it did before, which is cool. And then probably finally, I'll mention the Xbox app. They did add some really cool stuff to this. This is technically not part of the Windows 10 preview. This was actually released a few days before the preview came out, but most people that are on the preview will be seeing this once they get build 10041. So, if anything, there's that. But the Xbox app, they did add a few notable things here, a lot more than a lot of the rest of the operating system. First of all, they have this Connect option now. Well, currently my Xbox is off, so I'm going to fix that real quick. Okay, so there it is. There's my Xbox. I can now hit Connect, and it will connect to the Xbox. There's not much you can do with it at the moment. You can change your volume, which is cool. You can use your computer to actually check out your TV in One Guide. So I don't have this currently set up with my cable, but if you are using your Xbox One to control your cable and your DVR, then you're used to looking through your channel selection, managing your DVR recordings, and playing stuff, and doing all that stuff on your Xbox. Well, you can now do that on your Windows 10 computer as well. Unfortunately, I can't show you that because I don't have that set up with mine, but that does work. Same thing here. You have a controller that you can manage what's going on the Xbox with your PC. But once again, you can't see what's going on the Xbox, so it's not exactly like you're really remotely doing much with it other than using the controller. That is coming, it's just not there yet. Of course, they've added this one guide here, which, once again, isn't working right now for me because I don't have anything set up. But they do have app channels here. I think they had that there before. Game DVR. So they've added, or they've enabled this. This is now working. You can't use Game DVR to record things on your PC yet, but you can view your recordings from your Xbox. And one of the coolest things about this is not only can you play the videos here, like I'm going to do here. So you can also download the video. For instance, I downloaded this mission highlights video here.
Why you gotta be such a bitch?
Okay, I should download a different one, but anyway, you hit this download button, and it'll start downloading. And when it's done, you'll have it here. You can play it. However, here's the really cool thing about this. If you go to your videos, go to Game DVR, it's right here in MP4 format. It's pretty standard format, and that up, you can open it up in Movie Maker, which is currently on the other screen, so you can't see it. But you can open it up in Movie Maker or Adobe Premiere or whatever you got. You can edit it, you can post it, you can do whatever the heck you want with it. And I think that's pretty cool. You can record stuff on your Xbox, and then you can send it directly to your PC with just this app. You just see it, download it, done. You can also see community-based videos as well. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. There doesn't really seem to be much of a rhyme or reason for this stuff, except that they're all fairly popular videos, but they're not organized by views. So there's some sort of algorithm here, but. So that's cool. I mean, you can see a bunch of videos that people are checking out on the computer. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the fact that that's there. Nothing much has changed on the Xbox app other than that. But that's all there, and it works pretty well. I'm still waiting for the game streaming. I would very, very much like to play my Xbox games on my PC, or be able to record video of PC games and be able to post it on Xbox Live. Either way, I would love to do that stuff, and that's not there yet. Probably won't be there until another few builds from now. I have heard that Microsoft is trying to commit to monthly build releases, so with the next build, I would imagine we'll probably see we'll probably see Spartan on there. But that game DVR feature and the game streaming will probably be something that isn't included until much later on. That's going to take a lot of coding to actually get that to work right. But I am very much excited to check out Spartan when that does come up. But as you can see, this is a very incremental update. Not a lot going on in here. They did add a bunch of stuff, and they do have some cool stuff in here, but it's, like I said, very much incremental, so a little disappointing. But we'll have better stuff, funner stuff coming up with future updates. So that is it. That's my my video walkthrough of Windows 10 technical preview. If I find anything else special or interesting in this build that I haven't talked about yet, I'll make an update to the video and say that on the blog. I haven't found anything yet, and I've been scrounging around forums and websites to see if anybody else does as well. But there's not a lot going on in here that's really notable. The one thing I do want to mention, I have had some people ask me about the mail calendar and people apps, asking about if there's any changes to those. I haven't really been showing them off, mainly because they have a bunch of personal information and stuff like that. I don't really want to show off, but at the same time, I will verify for you that these apps have not changed at all. They're not different from the Windows 8.1 versions in any sense of the form. I think the calendar app looks slightly different. They have this. I don't remember if this is what this looked like, but that may be slightly different. The People app has not changed at all. There's no difference there. Same with Mail. No difference in the Mail app. It works exactly the same. The other thing with the Mail app too is when Microsoft talked about Windows 10 when they first released it, they talked about that they were going to replace this Mail app with an Outlook app. So that's why there isn't any changes here at all, because they're probably going to get rid of this. Same here with the People Hub. It looks like they're getting rid of the People Hub and replacing it with something else within the Windows 10 build for phones. So I would imagine they're going to be doing some changes to this as well. But that's why this hasn't changed at all. So I can verify for you that this is exactly the same as the Windows 8.1 app. When there are changes to this, I will let you know. I'll put it on the video for whatever build that is that they release that change. And I'll make sure to go through those features with you. But so far, there is no changes to that whatsoever. But that's all the changes with build 10041. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any questions, you can also go to the website at mikesgoodstuff.com, and there you'll see the actual technical preview build post. Has a little bit more information about stuff on here that I can't really show you on the video. And once again, you can comment on there as well. Send me an email. Follow me on Twitter. All that kind of stuff. So, thanks for watching, and keep up to date with all the good stuff I have to share with mikesgoodstuff.com and this YouTube channel, youtube.com/mikesgoodstuff. Thanks.